Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2023-24 season. And my name is Dan, and today we're going to rank some Game Week 3 transfers. If you do enjoy this one, please do drop a like, really helps out the channel, and do subscribe if you want daily FPL videos, because that's what we do here. Let's have a look at this tier list. Right, so the 30 most popular transfers in at time of recording, I'm going to put them all on this table. And remember, guys, I am ranking these players not on their own ability, but on how good they are as a transfer right now when we take into consideration their price, their fixtures, everything all together. So we're talking about FPL transfers. We're not talking about the quality of the player, which I feel like I need to make particularly a strong point on this, because our first player and the 30th most popular transfer of Game Week 3 so far is Mo Salah. And I'm not willing to put him in the avoid section, even though he's probably not a player I would ever be picking up this week, ever in a million years. It's still, like, it doesn't feel right to put Mo Salah in avoid, because we know he can do the business in any game. You know, maybe he gets a counter-attack, or maybe he stays on penalties somehow and gets a penalty or something like that, and he's going to get points. But we've got Newcastle next, and if I'm totally honest, I've not been too impressed with Salah so far, and I don't think he justifies that 12.5 million price tag right now, particularly with the bad fixture up ahead with the Newcastle game. So yeah, I'm a little bit worried about Salah. He would be an avoid for me personally, but I understand if some people want to pick him. I just would not be going near him if I didn't have him already. If you already have him, fair enough, but seems like a bit of a silly transfer, particularly with the price that he is. Kieran Trippier, why are people buying him? They're about to play Liverpool. So Liverpool, as bad as they are defensively, they are still a team that scores a lot of goals. And Newcastle are probably not going to be able to easily keep a clean sheet there. So I do think Trippier, for the price he is, still an avoid until we get past these horrible fixtures. You know, we got like Brighton after that. I feel like we need to wait a little while before going for Trippier. And I would say a similar situation with Onana. I feel like he is somewhere pretty low on this. I'm going to put him in optional because I don't hate him as a pick. My issue is I probably would not be buying or selling any Man United players right now. If you have them, keep them. If you don't, then I guess don't buy them, because right now, Man United, it's not looking so great for them at the moment. I think Onana was very fortunate to keep a clean sheet in the opening game against Wolves, and, you know, they looked like they were pretty poor in that second game against Spurs. So upcoming fixtures, we've got Forest next. It's okay, but after that, Arsenal, you know, I'm a little bit worried about United right now, and I want to wait and see a little bit on them. So for now, not really rating their assets too much. Semenyo, if you need a 4.5 million forward, why not? Not a bad pick, really. So we're going to put him in there somewhere. Like, you know, he's okay. He's fine. Awoniyi, horrible fixtures for Forest, but he's been doing very well so far. Awoniyi is really proving to be a top striker, isn't he? So maybe even in the difficult fixtures, he can still do the business. For 6.5 million, you can do worse, but those poor fixtures are stopping me from putting him any higher on this tier list. Nathan Ake, I'm going to say exactly the same thing as I said in last week's tier list video. Now that Gavardio is at Manchester City, Ake is a constant rotation risk. They play in similar kind of positions on that left-hand side of the defense. I know some people didn't believe me last time. They said, no, Ake will play. They'll play together or whatever. The problem is, we never know with Pep Guardiola, and Ake could very well play and start in Game Week 3, but then in Game Week 4, you've got the same problem again and worrying about that rotation. So I would be looking to avoid Ake in my team right now. Wan-Bissaka, I think there's like a possibility of rotation with Dalot. Maybe a change is needed there to get a bit more attacking impetus on that right-hand side. So I'm going to put Wan-Bissaka in the avoid category because I don't think he's nailed on enough. Serge Aurier seems like a bit of a knee-jerk that people are going for him. Obviously, he got 2 assists in that last game for Forest against Sheffield United, but is that going to continue? Do you really want a Nottingham Forest defender in your team for 4.5 million? For me, not personally. So I'm going to put him in the avoid section. Knee-jerk transfer. We won't be touching him. Rico Henry. Okay, he's the first player I'm looking at. I'm thinking, actually, yeah, I actually have a little bit of confidence in this one. So yeah, Brentford still got plenty of decent fixtures to come. I think if you're going to go for a cheap-ish defender, Henry would definitely be one of the first names on my list there. So I'm happy to put him in a good transfer. I think he's a strong one. I think he's solid. I think Saliba is possibly, you know, as a fairly good transfer as well. Don't hate this one. It doesn't fill me with excitement. I guess maybe it's optional because it is not that exciting, but it's okay. It's fine. It's a decent transfer. There's nothing too wrong with that one. Varane, optional, at least he's nailed on, but I'm going to put him similar kind of category as Onana. Not really feeling the Man United players right now. Keep them if you have them, but I wouldn't be buying them necessarily. Ederson, I feel like, again, if you're looking for a goalkeeper, I feel like he's a decent option. I feel like I could arguably put him in good transfer. If you've got a situation in your with your goalkeeper and you're not happy with who you've got at the moment, Ederson is reliable, you know, and he's going to get regular clean sheets. We've got that Newcastle game. That was the tough one. That's out the way now. We got some really good fixtures from Manchester City, and I feel like we could see a lot of clean sheets and regular 6-pointers for Ederson, but probably not too much more than that. But 5.5 million, you know, you get what you pay for. Romero, I'm going to put in a void, but this is a little bit of a harsh avoid because, first of all, I'm still not fully convinced by Spurs' defence. I think Vicario made a lot of, you know, good saves against Manchester United, played very well. So it's very obvious that Spurs are still conceding chances, and sometimes that will lead to goals. So not 100% convinced by Spurs' defence yet, even though the fixtures are a lot better now. But my main issue is if you're going to go for a 4.5 million defender from Tottenham Hotspur, go for Udogie. He is so good. He is so attacking. Yes, Romero scored a header. That's going to happen occasionally. But for reference, guys, Romero didn't get a single goal all of last season. I think he only got 1 goal the season before that. So we're not going to get regular attacking returns from Romero, really, for Spurs. Udogie looks much more likely to get those attacking returns. And you can get him for the same price. So if you want a Spurs defender, Udogie is your guy. Next up, Kyle Walker. I feel like he is maybe either a soft avoid or a kind of a low tier optional, because I do feel like maybe he's in a similar category as Ake, where you never really know where he's going to get rotated. So we're going to put him in soft avoid here as well. Put Nathan Ake right next to him as well. He's slightly cheaper than Ake, so you do have a small advantage of going for Walker, but both of these players are very much rotation risk, unfortunately. Saka, I feel like maybe he's a must-buy. I know Arsenal, as I record this video, haven't even played their second game yet. But what I will say is Fulham, once again, in Game Week 2, looks like the most horror defence in the entire Premier League. They are, like, seriously struggling at the moment. They're conceding so many chances. And I feel like a team like Arsenal is going to destroy them. Really, really destroy them. You know, we've seen the hauls of Brian Mbeumo against the likes of Fulham. So look, it's going to be Saka's turn next week. It's going to be huge. I would be buying, I would be keeping all of those Arsenal attackers, even if they don't perform against Palace. Keep them, buy them. It doesn't matter. This is going to be huge. It really could be a 4-0 game, and Saka is going to be involved in that, isn't he? Really. Disasi, probably an avoid, just because there's just better options at Chelsea. If you want a defender, go for Colwill maybe, or Gusto. You can get them both for a decent amount cheaper. Yeah, I think he's fine, but there's not really a place for Disasi in our FPL teams when you have got the likes of Colwill and Gusto. So, yeah, not much point in buying him, really. He's a fine player. If he was 4.5, we might be having a different conversation, but he's not. Next up, Rodrigo. He can stay right at the bottom of the avoids. I know people think that he is going to be the new Gundogan role. He's not been playing that role really. Takes the odd shot, creates the odd chance, but really nothing compared to so many other midfielders. There's so many good midfielders in FPL right now that you just should not be wasting one of your Man City players and one of your midfield slots on a defensive midfielder. Just should not do it at all. James Maddison obviously picks up a knock at the weekend's game, but it does seem that even though he was kind of seen, you know, coming out of the ground, you know, on crutches or whatever, apparently it was just precautionary, and the signs are positive. Now, if you're not confident about that one, fair enough. Wait for press conferences and get the full assessment. But I would still say that Maddison is a fairly good transfer. I don't think I'd put him any higher than that because there's a minor, tiny, you know, injury. Apparently, like, you know, it's precautionary. He's probably going to play next game week, but we're not 100%, right? Never 100%. And, yeah, I was a little bit more disappointed with Maddison's performance against Manchester United from an FPL point of view anyway, his positioning in particular. But, look, new game week. Let's see what happens. This is probably the most one of the more exciting picks in FPL right now. Kind of like him. Nicholas Jackson still doing pretty well on underlying numbers. His positioning is good. Yes, disappointing 2 game weeks in terms of FPL scores, but if you don't own Jackson right now, that's kind of what you want. You want a player who looks positive but isn't scoring points for all of your rivals who already have him. So I feel like Jackson, with this Luton Town game up next, if he has the same chances as he did in the previous 2 games against West Ham and against Liverpool, then he is going to be very, very likely to score in that game. So I like the look of Nicholas Jackson. I don't think he's a must-buy, but I think he is a great transfer, and I wouldn't be put off by those 2 one-pointers, you know. We don't care how many points he scored in the past because we didn't own him for those game weeks. What we want when we're buying players is players who look likely to score in the future, and that's exactly what this guy is. I'm going to put Foden up here as well. Kind of like the look of him. If I'm looking for like a 7.5 midfielder, you know, I'm probably looking at Maddison. I'm probably looking at Foden. So, yeah, I'm going to put him up here. Feel like with City's lack of attacking options right now, Foden is probably going to play a lot of games. And I would say a similar situation with Julian Alvarez. Both of these players looking really good at the moment. Getting chances to score, shooting, getting in and around the box. It's looking good. It's looking good for these guys. So, yeah, I'm going to put them both in great transfer, I think. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Yeah, maybe rotation risk like further down the line if Man City makes new signings, but we've got some really nice fixtures for City coming up. We've got Sheffield United and Fulham. These could be huge scores, and you're going to want to have like maybe a second Man City attacker in your team somewhere. So it's not just like Erling Haaland scoring points for everyone in the entirety of FPL. You also got like some differentials in there that are also kind of getting a little bit of the a bite of the cherry, bite of the cherry, a second bite of the cherry. I think that's the phrase. Why do I do that? I never know the phrases. Yeah, second bite of the cherry with another Man City attacker in high scoring games sounds pretty good to me. Akanji, I'm going to put slightly higher than the other Man City defenders because he is more versatile. So I feel like the versatility of Akanji, he's been playing the John Stones role when Stones has been injured. I feel like that really does help his prospects. But as with any Man City defender right now, we've got options there, and there is going to be a bit of rotation. So I'm never comfortable putting, you know, these Man City defenders any higher than this. Not usually happy putting the Man City attackers higher than this. It's only because they haven't really got many options right now because of all those injuries. So yeah, yeah, I feel like Alvarez, Foden, you know, I'd be more willing to take a bet on them because they could have mega scores. Isak, we've got the Man City game out the way. Liverpool next, which is not too bad. I still feel like I'm not quite ready to go in on Isak personally, but I feel like he's still, you know, a solid option to go for. You know, he's an absolutely fine transfer to go for. Still a little bit concerned that he is going to kind of getting taken off at, you know, 65 minutes. Wilson is coming on, so you're not really getting the full game from Isak, which is a little bit disappointing. You can probably get more minutes out of other players, particularly with all of the kind of additional time that's been added on at the moment at the end of games. It might be quite nice to have some like 90-minute guaranteed kind of players. Luis Diaz, I think he's been playing pretty well, to be fair, but don't think I would be buying him ahead of a game against Newcastle. So I'm going to put him in a similar situation to Salah because of that poor fixture, but I think Luis Diaz is doing pretty good so far. Solly March, I think we might have just missed the boat on the mega scores for Brighton because the fixtures do get a little bit more difficult after next one. So we've got West Ham next, and then after that, the fixtures do get a little tougher. So I still think there is still, you know, going to be some opportunities and some chances to get some points from the Brighton midfielders, but don't expect any more 15-pointers maybe over the next 3 game weeks, right? After that, we have got Bournemouth, so that could be pretty decent by that point. I don't think the Brighton assets are completely gone, but we're getting very, very close. Next up, Chilwell. Still think he's a great transfer. I know he, you know, disappointing scoring game week 2. I'm sure a lot of people were disappointed by that one, but still super attacking. Still he had chances to score. He had chances to assist against Luton Town. It's going to be a different story. So I'm going to put Chilwell as a great transfer. I still feel like he's maybe almost a must-buy, almost, but I'm going to leave him in great transfer for now because I know a lot of people will be disappointed with his one-pointer, and I know that's a lot of people will kind of lose faith in him, but I would still be very, very tempted to buy him if I didn't have him already. Galdo Midtjylland, similar situation to March. Going to put him slightly ahead, just because slightly better expected minutes there. But yeah, same situation with March. Brilliant players. There will be goals, but, you know, I think the mega scores are perhaps behind us. Johan Wissa, I think he's a great transfer. You know, I think if you're looking for a new forward in your team, it's between Jackson and Wissa for me. You know, you guys know I've been hyping up Wissa pretty much all pre-season, so I'm not going to do the spiel on him again. But look, in terms of his raw underlying numbers, excluding penalties, he's actually doing a lot better than Mbeumo. He's actually looking really, really good. Maybe could outscore Mbeumo as long as there's no penalties for Brentford, but penalties and Brentford seems to go hand in hand. Like, Brentford get penalties. Like, it's just a fact of life. The death taxes and Brentford getting a penalty given to him every single game. Next up, Stupinian must buy. Man, he is this year's Kieran Trippier. He really is. He's doing absolutely crazy things right now. He is, like, just so attacking. He's so forward. Like, I feel like he's just a player I want to have in my team and just own for the rest of this season. Like, I can't see myself selling him unless he gets injured at this point. He's looking so good. I know we're only 2 game weeks in. Maybe I'm overhyping him a little bit, but yeah, he really does seem essential right now. He seems like an absolute must pick. No wonder so many people have been going for him already. No wonder so many more people want to bring him in, because right now he's the second most popular transfer in FPL. Really definitely recommend him. He's up to 5.2 million now. Get him before he's 5.5. That's all I'm going to say. And finally, Brian Mbeumo. Again, you know, I'm going to put him in the great transfer category. Yeah, I'm going to put him slightly ahead of Wissa, because although Wissa looks better, excluding penalties, like I say, you have to include penalties when we're talking about Brentford. It gives you a huge advantage. So, yeah, I think Mbeumo, still some good fixtures to come. I don't think the good fixtures are quite done yet for Brentford. When compared to Brighton, they do start to dip a little bit now, but Brentford, we have still got some decent fixtures to come. So, yeah, in general, I think next game might be a little tough, but in general, these are good players to own, super well priced, you know, really cheap. Yeah, I like Mbeumo. I still would say that my top 4 transfers right this second would be Saka, Estupinian, Chilwell, and Nicholas Jackson. These are the guys I really like the look of the most, but there's definitely room for the likes of Mbeumo, Wissa, those Man City guys as well, and maybe some of these good transfers as well I would be heavily looking at this week to potentially bring into my team. So yeah, there we go, guys. That is our tier list completed. I think it looks pretty good. I think it looks pretty sensible. I'm happy with it. Let me know what you think about some of the positionings of any of these players. Do you think I've got anyone really wrong? Do you think I've got it actually pretty spot on? Is there any other players that aren't on this tier list, who obviously are not very popular transfers right now, that you think you should go on this tier list, and where do you think they're going to go? If you want to ask me where I would put them personally, that's absolutely fine as well. Like Martinelli, for example, I feel like he could be a potential transfer in. Could do really well against Fulham. I would put him, someone like him, maybe in like a good transfer, great transfer. But yeah, got any other suggestions of potential transfers? Let me know, and we'll talk about them as well in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, guys, once again. If you did enjoy this one, please do drop a like. Really helps out the channel. Subscribe for daily FPL videos. We're doing videos pretty much every single day, some including streams, sometimes twice a day as well. We'll do a stream after the Arsenal versus Crystal Palace game, so be ready for that one, and make sure you've got those notifications on. But aside from that, guys, make sure you check out Fantasy Football Hub. They're still running 50% off all subscriptions until the end of August, and then that offer is gone. So yeah, if you want Fantasy Football Hub, the full subscription, really recommend it. Link in the description. This is your last call, pretty much. This is the last 10 days before you can get the cheap version. But there we go, guys. That's it for today. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you later, mates.